Very first map between these two teams. One of them we expected to be here. The other, you could make a credible argument that they could get to this point, but Falcons have made significant strides over the last year and a half that they've been competing at a top level. I am fascinated to see what becomes of this roster after the Montreal Major, but before we get to that point, let's get through the operator ban phase.
Nothing too surprising so far. This last one's probably the hardest operator to call. I could see an Azami or a Mira. In Brazil, Kaid and Mira are pretty much always banned on Clubhouse. Almost every game that FaZe Clan has played had both of those operators banned, so an Azami ban could be a good mix-up by Falcons, and that will do just the same job Bandit mixing things up, meaning that Mira will be available for the first time in a very long time for FaZe Clan on Clubhouse. The attacking bans all to be expected. Vidaking, one of the greatest Monty players in the entire world. Falcons will make sure to remove that. Despite the fact that Monty has been dominating a lot of the Stage 2 meta, we haven't seen Falcons adopt much of that shield play, so they're going to be banning out the shields decently often. We do see it a little bit coming out from guards every now and again, but even that's been more leaning towards the Blitz rather than the Montaigne. And then FaZe Clan, they permaban Kaid on this map, and then they usually ban a hard breacher. They switch up their attacking ban quite a bit. Maverick, I think, is new for them, but it's not incredibly unexpected. Maverick is super common on this site. And Maverick would be useful against operators like Kaid and Bandit, but those are both gone now too. So getting walls open should be relatively simple. Mute jammers would be the only thing that can currently keep walls closed.
A bit of an oddity to see them both removed from action. I'm admittedly a very big Bandit fan, so I get very excited whenever he's available. Unfortunately, can't have him. Tubarao will also be on the board to help slow things down if required. The Maverick ban from FaZe Clan will make things a little bit more challenging to open up those walls, which is in large part, KDS can't go that way. That is not a part of the map.
Listen, KDS, he's still getting used to this game. He's a little bit new.
It's like Wile E. Coyote in the Roadrunner when Wile E. Coyote runs full speed at the tunnel that's been drawn into the wall and just slams right into it. So anybody over the age of, I don't know, 25 is probably understanding my reference. Everybody younger than that's like, what on earth are you talking about?
We had Looney Tunes when I was growing up.
We did.
23, 24. I bet you they get it.
You're not that much younger than me either way.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
You think you're much younger than me?
Yeah, you're old.
Oh! Cyber with the Assassin's Creed leap off the top tower to take out Dove. So long, farewell. Falcons surrendering the very first pick. Clubhouse, oftentimes among the most defender-sided maps at any given point in time in any region in any stage.
Cyber also quite old and putting off some acrobatics in that round.
It's not about... Oh! Oh! Wow. Souls and Cyber both upstairs. The youthful reflexes of Guards as J-Lad is now on the board as well. Guards pays for it. Up top is Vidaking with the refrag, holding the diffuser. Him and KDS expecting one player over towards the meat locker. Lots of good things happen in the meat locker.
A little bit of revenge, going to ignore that, coming out of Guards as his twin brother Dove ended up dying as the opening death in this one, but they have surely answered back. This is a really interesting hold by Hisham. They will drone him out. They'll see the foot of the Azami, so they know Hisham is here. He could be punished quite hard. In fact, they're absolutely going to hold this angle. As soon as they destroy this Kiba barrier, he's dead to rights.
Unless he fights his way out. He defeats KDS. Another Kiba barrier there as well, and Vidaking will have to tussle with Hisham, who, by the way, look at that, chewing with his mouth open, knee up to his chest. This man has nothing but vibes at the moment, Jesse. You simply cannot defeat somebody who is that chill. Now Vidaking will likely drop from Moto. Tries to square himself off to a fight inside a church, and guess what? Robbie retakes from above. He had a very quiet matchup, but Robbie is just... Look at Robbie doesn't even move.
Yeah.
Look, doesn't need to. Hurts your aim when you move. Get extra style points for standing still. Falcons take the first round despite surrendering the first pick.
A lot of the positioning I felt was better from FaZe Clan. We saw some weird stuff coming up from Falcons, most notably Hisham setting up a bunker inside of stock. But I will say, The thing with Falcons is they've got such ridiculous talent on their team that they will often be able to win in those awkward situations regardless. Hasham, known to be one of the most impressive players mechanically in the entire world. He's got a whole peak named after him. Been really defining the game. Despite coming from a relatively unknown region as of a few years ago, he has been a huge star. Undoubtedly the most famous player coming out of the Middle East. So nice to see that from Hasham. Also guards. What I really like to see out of maybe younger players like guards who don't have very much competitive experience is smart game sense. The ability to know, hey, I'm in a man disadvantage, I see a gap, I'm going to take it. The confidence to do that, especially when you're on a team with guys like Robbie and Hasham who can often dominate the conversation, is really good to notice. And I think for guards, stepping up and making that play really impactful. Loved to see that coming out from him on the main stairs. Did get punished for it, but absolutely worth it every time. So he's going to be feeling very good about that one. FaZe Clan down 1-0 early on Clubhouse attack, but nothing to be worried about just yet.
Best player to come out of the Middle East, you said. And again, all vibes. Prone underneath that blue window. Here we go.
Nah.
It works.
Sick. That's
it
sick.
works. Look at Cyber's face. That's exactly it. Just, okay, well, you know, what can you really do there? You can't bandit trick and you can't throw down a Kaid Electric Claw, but guess what? You time it right and you put down a Black Mirror and it has the same effect. Hasham has not moved from this position, by the way, in blue. He is still prone under that window, affectionately referred to as either Secret or Adam. And he goes for the run out, but he's alerted. A little bit too early. Cyber finishing him off. First pick again goes to FaZe Clan. This time, 2 minutes still left on the clock.
Yeah, a lot of work still to do on the side of FaZe 2, though. I mean, a lot of extension. You can see these Kiva barriers. They will be a presence in almost every single round because it was not banned out, as I suggested, by Falcons. But, of course, they make good use of it here on the top floor, extending towards Cash. Red stairs as well. Robbie hungry for a pick. Doesn't quite find it just yet. Deals about 2/3 the damage of Cyber, but not rewarded with a kill. So it's still a 4v5. FaZe Clan are on the roof. They're inside of Secret. They can start working their way towards Cash. But again, with this clock ticking down, if Falcons can keep buying time and get a couple of picks, they're going to be in a really good situation. FaZe will have a tough execute ahead of them when they eventually get to the bomb site.
Bees will go, as that will give away Dove's position. It's information that will continue to help FaZe Clan, at least as they plot their next steps. They've taken what would be the other upstairs bomb site, but that's really all they were able to do. The Mira of guards goes for a very belated reinforce. Now has to army crawl his way. He exchanges a couple words with Vidaking as he does manage to get through. J-Lad eliminating Souls. Robbie dies to Cyber, so the advantage goes back to FaZe Clan as a brisk affair between the two teams causes some casualties, and another will fall as guards may be unwisely re-engage from that same spot. Dove and J-Lad, last two remaining. J-Lad, similar spot to where guards was, will die as well over towards Logi, and Vidaking securing the final kill as Dove left to his own devices inside of weight room. Slow peeks the window from behind the bench press, and he's as good as dead. FaZe Clan shore up their weaknesses in the second round, and they equalize.
All right, so Falcons really wanting to get aggressive even in that mid-round. It felt like they had a lot of strong positioning. They still had sight. The time was starting to get a little bit low, but they wanted to go for those swings. They wanted to get the man advantage back down to even, and FaZe Clan, they were very ready for it. FaZe have clearly been doing their homework. They know that Falcons like to play kind of an aggressive, gunfight-focused style of Siege, where they are getting very active in the early, mid, and late round, wanting to take a lot of gunfights. FaZe have been ready for that. Start to finish, it feels like FaZe Clan are very aware of what they're going up against. You got to give credit to Cyber, of course, one of the best players in the world, a former major MVP. Both he and, I believe it was Souls, yes. Both he and Souls won a major a few years ago in Sweden. They could repeat that once again. That was the last time FaZe Clan won a tournament, despite being to a couple of top fours, a couple of grand finals. They've been coming very close over the last couple of years, but have yet to make it. I imagine if they do get all the way as the first team to top 8, people will start predicting them to get first once again. But I don't know, people seem to sleep on FaZe quite a bit, even when they've been the best team out of Brazil so many stages in a row. They always have their doubters, and they do sometimes struggle to finish the job.
Look at this again.
Harder against an ace. I will say that.
No. Yeah, you're right. He loses all of it. It really is quite an unorthodox and goofy strategy, but it can work. It worked on the previous attempt this time around. You do it in the middle, you might actually miss the Selma. Nitro Cell! Throw it a little bit too short. Guards needs to work on his pitching arm if he wants to be able to throw far enough away. He's about to lose the entirety of the wall, and now he'll be forced off of that position. I don't know if FaZe Clan have been able to open it up to the point where they can walk in. No. Nope. What? That is
messy.
That is a mess.
Very messy. They still have, they have no Selmas, actually. They still have a can opener. That's it? They're not likely going to be able to walk in this breach. They'll have an angle, but it's going to be really important that they get good control over either rafters or construction, because that needs to be where the brunt of this push comes out. Cyber starts with another opening pick. He's been so good with these so far. Finds Dove on the rappel. That's going to be 0-3 now from the Wamai player of Falcons. Rough start to this game. The rest of these players are rotating around. Bottom of red, stairs, still on the breach. They don't have rafters, though, Parker. I mean, they've got good utility for it, Capitao and Grim, but it's going to be tough.
First blood drawn by Falcons as KDS dies. Their Terror drones will be gone. The biggest amount of soft destruction in the hands of FaZe Clan will be no more, and FaZe are really stalling out here. You're absolutely correct. This is a very slow take from FaZe Clan as their attempts to get open that CCTV wall have been rebuffed by Falcons. A nice pick from Vidiking as J-Lad goes prone on the top of the stairs, thinking he had a favorable angle. He did not. Now Vidiking needs to be worried about who could potentially have a line of sight on rafters. Look at this angle by guards onto the stairs. There's a significant amount. Actually, no, very little. Oh, very little damage, but one of those bullets at that range is an insta-kill. Guards is beaten up after that, now dropped by Souls, who will follow up from that position. Hasham with a very quick revive in the final 30 seconds.
Trying to get a plant down now from Garage. One guy still in a rappel. That's likely to be Cyber. They start to get in, but a vault over will keep Hasham alive. They're in the plant spot now. Down below, there will be impacts if Hasham wants to make the move. It's Robbie actually downstairs. As the red pings come out, they pull off the plant, and here's the super shorty from the castle. Hasham takes down Handy, but doesn't matter if you can't plant. Still nobody's going down below. Cyber's also finding picks on the rappel too. They'll go for a plant inside of Cash. Robbie runs up the stairs and stops it though. Never was Robbie addressed down on the bottom floor, and that comes back to punish them hard.
That's like the worst place for you to plant as well. You're fully exposed to red stairs, and they were expecting Robbie to rush up red much sooner on. That's why you saw Souls go directly for the fight instead of getting into the bomb site and finding a safer place to play. There's a way for you to get in there, hop up on the one table that's inside a cache, and then you are largely immune from nitro cells, explosives, and most gunfire. However, it's going to take you an extra 2 to 3 seconds with the way that FaZe played that round. It is a miracle that they were able to make it that close with the time they had left, but it was just too little too late. I guess you prioritize taking the body instead of taking the objective. In a lot of cases, that's a good idea. For FaZe Clan, maybe not that particular round. Falcons, it's not their map, but they are on the favorable side of Clubhouse. 2-1, plenty of match still to play, and no real worrying signs, I would say, for FaZe Clan. They just became a victim of a very active and very good upstairs play.
For sure. I mean, both teams have been hitting some ridiculous shots so far today, so I expect that to continue throughout this map, and whoever's hitting more is likely going to be in the spot where they will walk away with this victory. Hasham, he's peeked this window like 3 times now, and is finally being pre-fired, so I have to imagine he's going to pull off of it and stop playing it, but you never know. Hasham likes to be a little risky sometimes. He's an aggressive player for sure. Nothing wrong with that. He doesn't get anything, but also takes no damage in that round, so no harm, no foul. Has a retreat quickly back to the site, too, if he needs to, playing on that Azami. Actively on a drone, so a little bit concerning. He's got J-Lad with him down here inside of Secret. None of his teammates are roaming either. There's a full 5-man anchor play. At the moment, they're just shooting drones. If they actually take a gunfight here, that feels really risky, given that you're playing for a 5-man anchor, but, I mean, they know what they're doing here. They're not trying to over-aggress. They're going to play it relatively safe. Robbie over by the main stairs as well. Doesn't want to take any gunfights. It's just Hasham who is I don't know, still refusing to leave. If a blitz runs at this, you're terrified. You probably lose one, probably both. Just so you know.
One exception to that, of course, is if the blitz tries to engage and gets, unfortunately, killed with a single shot.
Sure.
Right? Lots of times where we've seen a blitz rush at a player, and they get punished very quickly on, and something either misaligns with the hitbox, or maybe the player doesn't line up correctly to their opponents, and they end up dying. Blitz obviously not as strong as Monty. Constant Monty bans have forced teams onto this blitz operator time and time again. We've also seen Fuse Shield pop up from time to time, and Osa's pick rate has not really actually had as much movement as I would have thought.
I mean, Osa doesn't play anything like the other shields, unfortunately. She just can't move with that shield.
Piloted that drone directly into the mute jammer that's inside of Escape Tunnel. So somebody on the side of FaZe will have to do that exploration with their own eyes instead of the aid of a drone. It's being a bottom floor defense for Falcons. Usually going to want to put one person over in dirt.
There's so much util in sight. Kibas, Goyos, still mirror windows. This is going to be a really difficult execute.
You don't have any real soft destruction to deal with it either. What do you have? You have one set of nades in the pocket of IQ, of which one has already been used. That's basically all you have at your disposal. No Zofia, no Ash, no Rotero drones from a Flores. Souls will now rush in with diffuser in hand. Robbie spots him. Somebody else will have to grab it. That case now goes to Cyber. He also dies to Robbie. Robbie and J-Lad will suffer at the hands of KDS, though. What a mess this is. Somebody overturned an entire cart of spaghetti, and it's everywhere, Jesse. Guards inside a church. Vidaking with the final 2 kills. A very active support player, taking a lot of that load off of Souls, who's become more prominent in their attacks. And FaZe Clan win the round, and again, tie the game.
A nice little hold then coming out from Falcons, disassembled by FaZe Clan, just getting in quickly and causing that chaos. I thought Robbie had done enough at the start of that round, opening the can of spaghetti, you say, in blocking the push from FaZe Clan, but it just wasn't quite there. I really like the blitz play, and then Vidaking. Often you'll think of FaZe, you'll think Vidaking, he's going to be planting. He's going to be the guy on the shield. But oh, no. Instead, it was Handy, who is typically the guy who will bring out the blitz. Handy is a little bit more of an aggressive player, of course, to come out for FaZe Clan, and Vidaking is a very traditional shield player. He likes to be able to stand still, give information to his teammates. He's not as good, I would argue, at pushing up and pushing players over and getting aggressive with shields as so many of the best shield players are today. Guys like Lagonis, guys like Canadian. Instead, we're seeing a lot more passive play coming out from Vidaking traditionally. So it's not that crazy that we are seeing somebody else pick up the blitz play instead. But still, Vidaking is very plant-focused, right? He's very plant-minded. He was the guy that was playing around the kitchen hatch, dropping when it was smart to do so, covering his teammates exactly when he had to. Vidaking has had a fantastic tournament so far today. Now 6-2, is putting up big numbers for his team. The young captain is often a player that doesn't get enough credit, I would argue, on this FaZe Clan team, but he is so smart, so good at what he does. You got to imagine one day he's going to be hoisting a trophy.
It's nice to see Cyber return to form as well. These are a bit upside down when it comes to Rainbow Six metas, by the way. Your hard breach is not always the one who's going to be carrying the diffuser like times of old. Now, a lot of times, it's going to be an operator with either lots of flashbangs, a shield, or smokes.
Yep.
That's where the diffuser goes. Then you'll have your hard breacher do something else. I mean, some teams do still play their own game, and they will have like an Ace or a Hibana or a Thermite carry that kit in, but it's not all that common. The one thing that we touched upon yesterday in their matchup against Virtus Pro, Jesse, was that FaZe Clan, like VP, prefer to play their own style. They are not held to the meta.
Mm-hmm.
They can play shields if they want. They can play recruit. They can play around soft destruction if they want. Some big EMPs to push out logistics. Souls and Vidaking coordinating off of that. All this info is gone. Mute jammers popped. That also gets rid of the F-mines that Fenrir has set about. J-Lad just picking up a double. FaZe Clan finding 3 kills. It's all up to JLad and Dove at this point. Dove finished off, and it's JLad to die last. Again, Vidiking getting in on the action. Ying, a support op. Not something that you would always assume, but that's FaZe Clan grabbing the lead.
What can't he do? Vidiking, a fantastic entry then on the Ying. Used that util perfect, was able to drop down then and find the last couple of kills too. Last time Vidiking was in Montreal, he was 21 years old. He was a rookie at his very first event. He played 145 rounds, and in that time, he got like 6 plants total. He clutched 1 time. Now he's in Montreal for the 2nd time. He's almost 23. He's the captain of his team, a competent IGL, and in just 26 rounds total, he's halved the number of plants. He's already gotten 3 plants through just the first day that they've been at this tournament. And he's matched his clutch total with 1 big clutch yesterday, which helped secure that win over VP. Now looking for a few more up against Falcons. He's been ridiculously good for the squad, and it will actually prompt a tactical timeout from Falcons, who are only down 3-2 at the moment, but they're down 3-2 on Clubhouse defense. Club D, sometimes a side that you really want to be walking away with a bit of success on, especially if a zombie's up on the board. But calling attack timeout after round 5 is very rare. The reason is that Siege is usually a game of 2 halves, attack and defense. The way they work very differently. The things that work well on attack don't really translate to defense in the majority of situations. So this attack timeout is probably only going to be discussing the strategy for this 1 round 6. If Falcons use their attack timeout to only impact this 1 round and they lose it, that's going to be a really poor use of their resources.
Yeah, I mean, I really wish we could have heard what was being discussed, because maybe it's just there's infighting between the players. Maybe there's some frustration. Maybe they think there's a lack of focus. It might not even been direct strategy, because from time to time we'll hear timeouts get called and the coaches will literally tell you what to do in the next round.
Yep.
This is going to be the bomb site they play. This is the bomb site we're going to play. I want these 5 operators brought. This is where I want you to put your players, etc. Right? Could be that maybe something is going awry with Falcons in terms of confidence. Maybe they're a little bit worried about some of the players being demotivated, or maybe comms are getting messy. And it's more of a, hey guys, we've got some bright spots here. Let's settle it down for this particular round. Let's bring these ops. Let's go to this bomb site for the next phase. Let's focus on, X, Y, and Z. That's entirely possible. Of course, we don't get to hear what was discussed in it, so all we can do is speculate. I was going to mention that Skopos is an operator that seems like it would get a lot of value with the way that Falcons are playing this. And finally, in the final round of their defense, do we see Skopos emerge.
And it will immediately leave because it gets droned out. Hasham trying to survive up top and get misdroned. That was his goal. And then as soon as he does get droned, he's like, that's fine. I'm going to get back to the bomb site. They will destroy his second body up there on the top floor, so there's nothing to worry about in terms of flanks, but Hasham going to be nice and safe back in the bomb site. He will still have his life, and that's the benefit of playing on the Skopos. A team like FaZe Clan, one of the best in the world, often not making mistakes, and they will catch the cutoff. The great thing about Skopos is you don't have to worry about being cut on the cutoffs, but your teammates still do. JLad, the IGL Falcons, taken out early in this one, and Guards avoids the same fate, makes it back to his bomb site. Well, we'll see what he wants to do here, but has been safe for now. If he could refrag JLad, that would put his team into a really good situation. You can see through this game, Falcons have not really wanted to play in 4v5s up to this point.
No, I mean, there were a lot of threats on the side of Falcons, so getting rid of JLad, getting rid of Hasham early is always a win for FaZe, but it doesn't guarantee you a victory when it, comes to this team. Guards taking a lot of damage from Handy, re-engaging. I think at that point you realize swing or be swung is the name of the game, especially with KDS in hot pursuit. Falcons lose 2, and a Gumine is hit, which will at least alert the remaining defenders. Somebody playing over towards Secret. Look at this, Hasham getting a read on KDS, surprising him as Robbie has punished Vidiking, and what was an advantage for FaZe Clan has completely evaporated. 40 seconds left on the clock, and neither of these teams with a numbers advantage any longer.
Cautious now. Reinforcements going up on the top floor. We still see Hasham, who's able to go for a flank if he wants to. The main stairs will be the brunt of this push, running back into Secret, so not going to go for a flank. Instead, they're just holding down the bomb site. Kendall is down through the kitchen hatch as they try to blind these opponents before they execute. Dove does get blinded, but it doesn't stop him from finding the feet for a moment, but he still gets dropped on. Handy gets the frag. Everybody falling now on the side of Falcons, leaving just Hasham in the 1v3, but he's gotten him 2 picks. It's just Cyber now, the last one alive. 1v1 with 3 seconds, hunting down Hasham. Can Cyber get the pick? Ring around the Rosie. Hasham gets them both. Hasham in the 1v3.
Unreal position from Hasham, and the mad scramble from FaZe Clan does not work out. The Scopos really was a great pick. The ability to flank and catch them off guard, which is one of the greatest benefits of the gadgetry that comes from Scopos on those Colossus and Talos, 2 bots. Retake. Nobody from FaZe Clan seemed to be aware of the fact that there was one player lurking off-site. And I gotta say, to flank when you are down numbers is really quite a gutsy choice, because most of the time, teams will have either an operator dedicated to flank watch, a gadget dedicated to flank watch, could be a Gridlock's Track Stingers, could be a Nomad's Air Jab, could be a Claymore, or they'll just have one player watching as the execute goes down. Somebody on the side of FaZe Clan should have been expecting a retake over towards blue, especially with a Scopos on the board. They droned the Scopos early. They knew that it was technically 2 operators that were available for Falcons, and yet FaZe Clan either just let it slip from their mind or felt confident enough that they can deal with it either way. Whether there was confidence there or whether it was just an oversight doesn't really matter, because the end result is the same, and it's that Falcons were able to use that operator to catch FaZe with their pants down and beat them in that round. In the first half, 3-3, which realistically is actually quite good for FaZe Clan, given that this is historically a defender-sided map.
Yeah, I mean, especially with the bans, you expect us to lean more towards the D, but you never know with these games at the highest level. Things can go a little bit wonky at times, so still absolutely in it on the side of Falcons. We see the Sentry coming out from KDS, again, an operator that FaZe Clan have valued very highly since the introduction of the new recruits to Rainbow Six Siege. Most teams have played a lot of Striker, very little Sentry. FaZe Clan probably the only team that have really been running a lot of this op. C4 and Barbed Wire right now, I believe, to help out with the cache extension. They'll usually run that with a shield as well, but not this time.
Yeah, you mentioned that yesterday in the matchup. KDS, by the way, on that Striker, eliminating Robbie, and now it's the clash of Handy walking in. What just happened? Where did J-Lad come from? Finding an opportunity to pick off 2. Hasham and J-Lad are both down. 1:45 to go, and we're in a 1v1. KDS and Dovahkiin as the last 2 standing. Well, the Dovahkiin hasn't been the better player between the 2, but I would take KDS in this engagement more often than not. KDS has the lineup, and the Nitro Cell will go as well. Grabbed a little bit too early. Dove just walks back. Now he'll try to hold KDS in place. He ponders, potentially weight room. That's where KDS seems to have an idea, but doesn't matter which angle he picks. KDS is simply better. First round on defense, first victory for FaZe on this side of the map, and boy, oh boy, what a frenzy that was.
KDS so reliable in those tense situations. He was the one that stepped up and shut down J-Lad as he was entering into the con single wall from the outside. It was an interesting decision from Handy to put the shield away on the clash and go for the refrag, despite the fact they did have KDS behind him. He lost that fight to J-Lad. Again, every single player on Falcons is dangerous. You cannot disrespect them with even gunfights, but I think he was just in his head about, like, you know what? This is an immediate trade. I surely can get this. Wrong. J-Lad gets that, puts it into a frenzy that round, and then we see the bounce back from KDS, trading that kill, and of course getting the final one. The most important of the round, of course. The 1v1.
Of course.
Of course, Parker.
The most important round, of course.
Of course.
Of course.
8-4 now, KDS, putting up a 2.0, tying Vidaking, his captain, and Cyber not far behind either. Some really high stat lines, partly due to the fact that Souls has been lacking a bit behind as well, but FaZe Clan won't be too concerned about that. Souls often is more of a support-oriented player who doesn't always need to get active in the kills. Vidaking would be the primary support, but Souls tends to be kind of flex support too, so not so concerned by that. Guards bring out a Sens in round number 8. I like Sens. I like the idea of Sens. I'm always excited about a Sens.
And then you realize that the operator is really not that great, and then you get very disappointed.
Yeah.
You get disappointed that the operator is not very good, but then you also get disappointed that what you wanted to happen doesn't happen. It's like when on Christmas you want something nice and you get socks.
Oh my god, I hate getting socks for Christmas.
That's because you're young. Wait until you get older and you start getting regular household stuff, and now it's unbelievable. You're telling me I'm getting like a nice pair of socks now?
I have so many socks. I have like 100 pair of socks.
So that is an absurd amount of socks.
I
and
know.
You should get rid of them. Why? Number one, how do you not wear socks enough that they just wear through after time? And number two, how do you not get to a point where you're like, I've had this pair of socks for so long, I should probably get rid of it?
I wear socks every day, but they don't get holes in them. They're well made.
If you have 100 pairs of socks, you can wear the same pair of socks 3 times a year. That's it. Cyber with 2 kills. Doe eliminating KDS. These rounds as turbulent as a spin cycle for Jesse's socks in the washing machine. FaZe Clan coming out ahead in this engagement. There was a very familiar refrain as Falcons are running head first into this wall. That is the FaZe defense. Another very quick attempt for Falcons that does not work out. FaZe Clan indomitable so far as defenders. 2 rounds really not looking like it's much of a challenge. And because Falcons called their timeout back in round number 3, Jesse, there's nothing to stop Falcons from bleeding out the remainder of this match.
You can tell Cyber was wearing his socks in that round because of the excellent entry engagements that he was able to stop. Playing at the top of red stairs, found 2 players as they tried to rush in the main breach. Obviously, Falcons there were going for a bit of a rush strategy. They had the Sens, they had the Dokkaebi calls all coming out. They wanted to go all as a unit, and they definitely did push together, but Cyber was right there and ready for it, catching them as they ran in the main breach. That was expertly played by him there. 10-4 from Vidaking and 10-5 from Cyber. They're really starting to step up in this game and showcase why they might just be the best team in the world. Absolutely up there in the conversation in top 4. They were top 8 back in Manchester, if you'll recall. So this is a team that want to be getting back to the main stage. They've been to the main stage the last 5 majors. So to miss it now would be a shock, but it doesn't look like we're headed that way. On their map pick, they've now taken a 5-3 lead. The most dominating position that they've been in all night.
Robbie taking down Cyber, who was looking for an early pick. He saw another player from FaZe Clan also searching for one. I mean, I guess if you can knock Falcons down, clip their wings before they can even take flight, then I suppose that's a valiant effort and valiant strategy from FaZe, though did not work out. You do not want to let Falcons back into this matchup. They are a team that gets, I don't want to say underrated or disrespected, but they certainly are better than a lot of teams give them credit for. And time again, the traditionally good teams will try something that might work against weaker competition and fall flat. FaZe Clan cannot fall victim to that, or else they could very quickly lose their grip on this matchup.
Vidaking, that's awkward, that's awkward, that's awkward. He gets the shot regardless. Can he get out? Inside of kitchen now, worried about the window, but it's the door frame from Robbie where he's pushing up. He's going to the staircase instead. Takes time to shoot the drone and still manages to escape. Vidaking, how is he alive after heroics like that? Finds Hisham on the trade and then manages to get out. No clue how he's alive here, but he's managed to do it. Now the Buck will start to get to work. If these holes were here a little bit sooner, he would have been able to punish that, but no. Now we've gotten an equalized man count. Vidaking gets aggressive. The IGL inside of kitchen manages to find that. And now things are starting to get a little bit awkward for Falcons. They don't have their Dokkaebi anymore. They've cleared out the roam, so suppose the Dokkaebi's job is done. But there's still a lot of util in sight. These Kiba barriers will keep everyone on FaZe Clan safe and sound inside. They're starting to rip up these floorboards and starting to work on the dirt tunnel as well. And Robbie, a huge pick, finally finds Vidaking.
Robbie's been a bit quiet today against this FaZe Clan team.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw the numbers. He was, 70-36 through the play-ins and now the playoffs. He's positive, at least in terms of KD, but for the role he plays on, the operators he plays on, and how much Falcons often rely on him, you need him to have a bigger day. He and Hisham are tied for the most kills on the team with 7 kills apiece through 9 rounds. That's not typically where they would usually stand. A push up by the Grim now as KDS will engage. There goes one of the Goyo canisters. That means 15 seconds will remain. Robbie finished off by Souls. J-Lad barely gets away with his life intact. Guards dies to Souls as well. The other brother, Dove, still alive, and he has no choice but to take some serious damage through the flames. He's last alive inside of Escape Tunnel. A very fitting name because there will be no escape for Falcons. Final kill coming out from FaZe Clan, and they sit on map point, well poised to take their own map in pretty quick time.
They've yet to lose a single defense to Falcons, and I guess that's not surprising. Throughout this tournament, FaZe Clan are 9-4 on defense. They're the best defensive team in Montreal so far. In Stage 2, they were the best defensive team out of the big 3 regions. No team in North America, Europe, or Brazil put up better defensive statistics than FaZe Clan in the Stage 2 regional leagues. On the side of Falcons, they've also been the best attacking team at this tournament, but of course Falcons have played through Phase 1, where the teams were a little bit weaker. They've yet to really play a team of FaZe Clan's quality. This is also a map that we didn't expect Falcons to have much success on. It's one they've rarely played and one that FaZe Clan have won 6 times in a row. 1 round away from making that lucky number 7 and trying to force us to a second map, and of course, then to the main stage after that. FaZe Clan's defenses have always been their stronger side. If Falcons don't want to go down 1-0, they're going to need to find some way to push. But remember, they used their TAC timeout after round 5. Yeah, they got that 6th round. Technically, they got value out of that TAC timeout. But you got to wonder, would it not be more valuable now that you're on attack and struggling to get anything going?
Big thing is just ensure your mental is in place for Kafe as your next map. In a best of 3, the expectation, especially when we get into the top 16 teams in the world, or higher, depending on where you rank Falcons. We've already talked about how we think FaZe is the top 3 team in the world. Where could Falcons be? I think you could make a credible argument with the way they've played so far. They could be a top 8 team. But the point is that when you get into best of 3s, especially at this level, there shouldn't be big enough difference between the 2 teams that 2-0s happen frequently. They will still happen. But the expectation is that FaZe Clan will win their map, Falcons will win their map, and then tiebreaker, which in this case will happen to be last. For Falcons, do what you can on Clubhouse. This is one of the best maps for FaZe, period. So the likelihood of you winning it is quite low. Kafe, you're probably going to have a better chance. Now you might need to be focusing on that. Not this round, though. Robbie gets the first pick yet again. He got it in the previous round, and it did not pay off. FaZe have yet to drop a single round on defense, though Falcons have a pretty good opportunity to break that streak at the moment.
Andy and Vidaking, a great escape out of cash. They will keep their lives. KDS not so lucky, as you mentioned. The opening pick for Robbie. Now with map control, Falcons can start to look towards the site. They are outside on the windows. They can play here safely because of cash control. The Nitro from Cyber, interesting one. Vidaking is up above that Nitro right now. He can call for Cyber to pop that C4 anytime that he sees somebody rushing in to pressure him inside of logistics. That could be a massive game plan for FaZe Clan to start to turn the tides of this push. But Falcons, they might not even push there. They're still working over towards Jacuzzi. They've got the Logi hatch open too, which might dodge that Nitro. And they've got another great pick on the Handy and a down to Souls.
Yeah, I don't know if FaZe have what it takes with Vidaking and Cyber to win this round. I mean, it's certainly doable. That play around the mattress even had Jesse leaning. Hold on a second. Cyber and Vidaking have now equalized. Souls could be picked up. What is happening? Dove is the last one standing. It managed to secure the down on the Souls, but Cyber and Vidaking are still up, and for a 15th kill, Vidaking could put this one away, and that's exactly what he'll do. Map 1 goes to FaZe Clan. They FaZe themselves through the first map of what could be their qualifying matchup. 7-3 the scoreline. On their own map, they do what needs to be done. Vidaking, an absolute hero with 15 kills, putting the team on his back, and only 5 deaths, Jesse, through those 10 rounds.
22 years old and still the captain of this squad, making the plays to make it happen in the 2v5 right alongside his teammate. That was ridiculous coming out of Vidaking. They had the C4. They pre-placed it inside of Logi. Then he had the moves around the mattress. Vidaking, A brilliant performance, and so clean too. Put that in a montage, throw it up on Twitter. Vidaking maybe has more important things to do for now, but I'm sure we'll be rewatching that one over and over and over again. A great position to be in if you're FaZe Clan now 1-0 up. You've got to win one more map in the next two, and you will be the very first team to lock down one of the spots on the Montreal main stage. Again, the last time FaZe Clan were here in Montreal, they didn't manage to make it to the main stage. This time could be different.
Anybody's game here at the Montreal Major. Map 1 in the books, but there's still at least one more to go. No further ado, a break, and then we'll be back with Kafe. Well, in a best of 3, you're expected to win your own map. In terms of FaZe Clan, they accomplished that, and they did so not just winning it, but ultimately dominating it. 7-3 the scoreline. Falcons only winning 3 rounds when they were on defense, which as defenders, it's the better side.
It is. And that makes sense for FaZe Clan, as they are the best defensive team in the world, in my opinion, and the stats seem to back that up as well. Falcons do technically have a higher defender win rate, but they play in a very different region. Big reason for that was the captain, Vidiking, 15 and 5. The impact of a lot of those kills, too. My God. Always having huge clutches and then also performing in the early round when he was needed to. The biggest thing for me was when he wanted to get active in the early round, he was doing a great job of then retreating back and making sure he stayed alive. Vidiking, a big player here, but as you said, Parker, you expect FaZe Clan to be winning their map pick, and now we expect Falcons to be winning their map of Kafe. It's been over a year since Falcons took a map off of a Brazilian team, over 365 days.
That is a year. That is correct.
They beat NIP in July of 2023. Since then, they've yet to fight. They've yet to beat a Brazilian team. I believe they've played 2 of them since. So, will this be the time? Will this be where the streak breaks against probably the best team in Brazil?
Do you mean beat them in a best of 3, or do you mean just beat them on a map?
Beat them on a map.
Wow.
Yep.
That is over a year.
Yep. 365 days.
That's at least a year.
Yep.
That is crazy. 366 days?
I'm sure. Yeah, I didn't write it down.
Well, if it was in July and we're in November,
then you could probably safely say
you were a math major.
I'm not a calendar major, though. Dokumi Monty, our first couple of bans. This was a conversation I was just having with my favorite caster, Lynx, where we were talking about, you at some point
sick of this
let Monty through against FaZe so that Vidiking just doesn't have a gun anymore? Because Vidiking has been dominating. Now, with guns in his hands, if you let the Monty through, he no longer can shoot you in the head. He still can bash you to the floor and get melee kills, but I digress. There's sometimes no winning a Mozzie ban in 2024. Okay, I like it. The Mozzie ban is certainly unique. We got a crazy ban phase, frankly, coming out. The Monty ban is not common from Falcons on this map, but it does make sense. The Clash ban is a little crazy. Usually we'd see Falcons banning out the Valkyrie in that situation. And then for FaZe Clan, Ying is probably their most common ban on attack, and then Mira I thought we might see on the defense, which means that I got none of the operators correct when I was looking at what we might be banning in this map. That is kind of ridiculous. I think I'm usually pretty good at guessing that, but with these two teams, they do ban a wide variety of operators, and we're in a very important match, so now would be the time to throw curveballs. We've seen some really good Mozzie play at this event so far. Ever since Mozzie got that 4th pest added, his pick rate has been through the roof. Even if I don't know if teams are necessarily getting the most value to that 4th pick, I think it just justifies it in teams' minds. Like, all right, you know what? Mozzie's better now. Why don't I try Mozzie? And they're trying it, and they're finding a lot of success.
So I think there's a couple things that factored into this. Number one, mute has become a mainstay.
Oh, yeah.
For almost every single team, because information right now is the name of the game. The single best counter to that for a long period of time was Yana. She was a top 3 picked operator for countless seasons in professional play. Because of changes to her kit, losing the Gone 6, losing the nades, she doesn't see the same pick rate that she did. In fact, you said she was the 2nd least played attacker, only behind or only ahead of Blackbeard across all global regions. That is a really frightening statistic when you think about the power that she had at one point. So adding another pest means that you're not going to see Yana, who's a great Mozzie counter, so you don't really have many counters to Mozzie. He synergizes so effectively with Mute, as we were in that Mute Mozzie meta about 4 years ago when we were actually here in Montreal. And on top of that, the Commando and the Roni have always been exceptionally good guns. There's been no changes there. So Mozzie, quite strong. The only real deficit that he has compared to where he was before was he still doesn't have that super shorty back. But I think at this point, he's in a pretty good place, and he's quite strong.
Guards trying to get some X-Kairos onto this window. Usually, you can manage to find a part of the castle barricade that won't be blocked by the Mute Jammer, because the Mute Jammer does not cover that large of a radius. But it looks like you can't seem to find that angle. I think with the Jammer, yeah, it's on the actual, it's on the table itself. So it likely will cover the entirety of that castle barricade. That's pretty massive. Maybe even just putting it to the side and not on the top would do something there. But instead, the window will stay closed, And the open window will result in a kill favoring FaZe Clan as J-Lad is the opening death in round number 1 of Kafe, giving it to Handy to start us off on the oh-so-important mute.
Robbie trading it back on to Souls. What kind of match can both Vidiking and Robbie have? Robbie was very quiet in map number 1. Still did well, but not up to his usual standards. And honestly, Falcons didn't really have a lot to show for Clubhouse. Can they make some more noise this time? A nice swing in by Dove to take out Vidiking. Robbie and Dove taken out immediately, and it's Hashom and Guards as the last two standing. The numbers right now favoring FaZe Clan until KDS gets walked on by Guards. And now it's Cyber to deal with not just one but two players. He needs to worry about being pushed from the same direction. He's weakened both of them to the point where Handy can very easily net these final 2 kills. 1 down, 1 to go. But Handy himself now sustaining some damage far enough away. Hashom yet to break into the bomb site, still playing with that cigar door. In he walks through the barbed wire, waiting to draw Handy out of this position. Handy will take some damage from the track stingers, and Hashom will hear that. He's got a lot of angles to cover, opening a small line of sight over towards bathroom. This round will be so influential on the ultimate result. Off of his position, oh no! Handy now about to win on time alone as Hashom pushes up. Handy gets the kill right as the timer hits 0. A scare for both teams and a winnable round for Falcons and for FaZe, but only one can walk away with the victory, and it'll be FaZe Clan to start off this Kafe map with a win.
A massive 3K starting out from Handy, of course. Throughout this tournament, he's been in 3 clutches, including the one that we just saw, 3 clutch potential situations, and he's been perfect. He has yet to fail a clutch through all of this tournament. He keeps that streak alive. Handy's one of the most reliable players in the entire world when it comes down to winning when the tension is high. Perfectly played by him on that final round. You know, there were some issues, maybe. There were some panic moments. The C4, probably the biggest one. But it was unpunished, and at the end of the day, he had more composure than his opponent, which made him walk away with the victory. Beautiful stuff from Handy. In those tense situations, it's impossible to play perfect every single time, and so Handy's still doing it better than almost anybody else in the world ever could. So, brilliant stuff coming out to start this round. Kafe, an extremely defender side of map, so you'll expect to see FaZe Clan start relatively strong here in the first half. It's going to be all on Falcons to pull it back in the second. If we see Falcons go for a 3-3 split, I think they'll be feeling really good about it. FaZe Clan, better on the defense. Kafe itself, better on the defense. You go 3-3 in this matchup, and then you can move on to your own defenses and hopefully make quite a bit of distance, especially with this Monty ban up against Vidiking. Falcons could absolutely push this to a third, but FaZe Clan never going to be upset about starting off with a 1-0.
You didn't choose the map, you choose the side. FaZe Clan think that defending on Kafe is a better side to be on, and we will test that theory. If FaZe can emerge with a 4-2 scoreline, then we'll have a pretty good answer. Oh my, that EMP will take care of the Kludge drone. Handy gaining the effects of the drone sprint. Always nice to see that as the Naruto lines around him give him some additional speed. Lost a lot of your gadgetry in this B-bomb site, all thanks to this nuisance drone that's being piloted by Hashom. As there he goes to get more information. No, my! Cyber thought that he had something working on to Dove. He could not get it. J-Lad off of the window to Vidiking, and now Dove realizes that his position is slightly untenable. Down goes Robbie to Handy. FaZe Clan, just as they did on Clubhouse, stopping Falcons from taking flight on attack.
Yeah, early rounds really favoring FaZe Clan in this series. A little bit of Finka Stim to help heal up some of these players. Are they going to make a move off of that? Still just sitting on the rappel. Don't want to run up. Hashom is still sitting on the red stairs as well, waiting for somebody to walk into his trap, but nobody's there just yet. Slowly starts to make his creep advance. He sees somebody in pillar. Can he get the frag? Surely. He does.
Took Handy a while to realize where he was getting hit from. The suppressors actually in this situation, very helpful.
Yeah.
So I could even say very handy because they don't tell you where you're getting shot from. So Handy has no idea that this was over towards red stairs, and I don't know if FaZe Clan will have that information for this final minute.
Now it's a 3-on-3, still inside a cigar. Is there a second player up here? KDS and Souls are both on the top floor. and they don't seem to know where KDS is at. This is very risky for Falcons, walking into enemy territory with no information. If they go downstairs, there's still pressure being held by Vidiking. FaZe Clan very isolated, but it doesn't matter because they're working with the element of surprise.
Through the top red wall, down goes one player on Falcons. Now it's guards under fire, finding himself inside a cocktail. Hashom last to go, Souls and KDS. The two support players sitting over by Ticket, inside a back freezer, over top of the bomb site, and the deficiencies that Falcons showed on Clubhouse's attacks are still present on their own map. Nothing looks like it's changed, Jesse. There are still huge problems with Falcons gaining information, gaining a foothold in the map, and pressuring FaZe out of their spots. FaZe Clan are doing a terrific job of holding on to that map control and not letting it go. Falcons just do not have the tools, either on Clubhouse or now here on Kafe, to shove them out of their spots. And FaZe Clan, when they don't really need to break a sweat, are able to settle in and play their game, and it's very challenging for any team to beat them.
Falcons have faced adversity before. In their very first game of the tournament, they played against Alpha in a BO3, and they ended up losing map 2 in a brutal 8-7. They still bounced back from that, but it feels a little bit different playing a BO3 against Alpha with 2 subs versus the second best team in the world last year, FaZe Clan. This BO3 might be providing a little bit more pressure that Falcons are starting to struggle underneath. Their attacks just haven't seemed to be able to crack the code of FaZe Clan. 0 attacks all day won by Falcons as they got swept on Clubhouse, and now 0 for 2. That's 6 in a row, if my math is correct, that they have yet to find an attacking round win. So obviously now we go to the tertiary bomb site. That's going to be one that you expect to be a little bit easier for Falcons, but there's no bad bomb sites on Kafe. All 4 sites are typically considered good enough to run regularly for the defense. We're going downstairs to the kitchen for the final site here in the rotation. FaZe Clan won't be roaming, so we're going to have a pretty slow early game. There is a Jackal being brought by Robbie, so were there to be any roamers, they'd be able to find them pretty quickly. And there still might be some late flanks, you never know. Vidiking wants to make a bit of a move. He is down by red stairs, but realistically, you'd expect this to be a slower early round with the players on FaZe Clan settling in. Never mind, KDS immediately dies to JLAD.
All right, well, I mean, why not? Again, as we saw in a few rounds for FaZe on defense, on Clubhouse, if they can find an early pick and knock Falcons off stride, they'll be in great shape. Vidiking was being watched from 2 separate players, by the way. That was his show, as well as the buck of Dovahkiin upstairs. Vidiking manages to get away, only taking 40 points of damage, which is frankly quite impressive. But now being hunted down by the Jackal of Robbie means that at one point, 3 separate players on Falcons were all trying to take care of Vidiking. Given what he did in map number 1, I think that's a pretty suitable amount of players to combat the best player so far in the lobby. Maybe not in this particular matchup. Through the smoke, Vidiking eliminating JLAD, and now it's guards outside looking towards VIP. Cyber dropping him back inside, and now another over towards Whiskey. Cyber swiftly removing the heads of not 1 but 2 players on Falcons. Dovahkiin outside of the map. Where is Hashom as well? He was last seen upstairs. Now he will take up space on brown stairs, and Cyber has not relented from this position.
Hashom careful now, right? Finds it. Cyber for the 3rd. One more to find still with a secondary shotgun. We'll get them all. Why not? Cyber, big 4K coming out in round number 3.
I was expecting you to clap.
Oh.
I'm going to do my best, Jeb Bush. Please clap.
That'll probably attack timeout coming out. They're not clapping on the side of Falcons, I've noticed.
No, but they are getting clapped, if I may use that. We are well ahead of schedule here. If this does end up being a very quick 2-0-4 FaZe Clan, our next matchup, which, by the way, is not us. We don't cast it. We're done. We're done after this one. I wonder if we actually will keep the timeline in place, or if we'll go over to the A stream, which, by the way, spoilers inbound, if you are not watching the A stream, the former Susquehanna, now just the Sonics, going up against G2, the loser of that matchup goes home. So that will be one of our first teams eliminated here from the second phase. We've already said goodbye to teams during the play-in, so it's not the first team to go home, but it will be the first team in the second phase to go home. The first map, 7-0 for Sonics.
Yeah, map 1 was bad for Falcons. It was much worse for G2.
Significantly worse.
Yeah. End of the day, though, 7-3 or 7-0, you still go down 0-1 in the BO3, and you go into the second map with a fresh slate. FaZe Clan, though, continuing that trend, they could have their own 7-0 today if they keep up this pace. 3 defenses in a row, attack timeout from Falcons. They've just got to get a better handle on punishing this early aggression. You know, we saw Vidiking, for the second time this series, make a really aggressive move, this time over by Red Stairs, and somehow, against all odds, making it out alive. FaZe Clan are going for a lot of little swings that are not being punished on the side of Falcons. Multi-kills abound by FaZe Clan as we're seeing play after play after play. So many nice clips have been hit today. Doesn't feel like Falcons have been playing too poorly. It's just that FaZe Clan are playing expertly and Falcons aren't able to shut it down. They've got to find a way to halt this momentum because FaZe Clan are looking like one of the best teams at this entire event, maybe in the world. It's going to be really, really difficult. And this Nitro Cell, if it lands, oh no. This will be a big pick onto Robbie.
It goes, but they're both tucked behind one of those pillars with a beautiful Christmas tree blocking all of the damage, and nothing, as you can see, was done to Falcons. Another Nitro Cell, though, in pocket for FaZe Clan, so they still have some explosive capabilities. That'll be on Vidiking, again, running that sentry. The recruit operators being so heavily favored by FaZe Clan. And I think you're right. I mean, I have no numbers to back this up because tracking how frequently they play these operators in comparison to the other teams is not really in my wheelhouse. That is your job, I believe, Nerd Boy. And yeah, every now and then I will see a team play one of the recruits, maybe once or twice a match. Not the case here. Both Nitro Cells have been used, and Falcons are off to the races, and Souls and Cyber slaughtering them as they find one kill on Vidiking. Kiba barriers blocking the hole, and now you see the sidearm out for Souls. The Deagle doing nothing much at all. J-Lad firing away as Dove has been taken out. It's a 2v2. The shield of Robbie over towards White Stairs, inciting panic in both Cyber and Handy as damage is being done. Both of these players from FaZe Clan have been shaken off of the top floor. Doubling up now is Handy, needs to eliminate J-Lad as well as Robbie, but first take care of the gun before the shield can encroach upon your position. Diffuser has been dropped but can be easily retrieved as now the shotgun gets pulled out by Handy. Both players on Falcons very limited HP, so Handy can easily win this one engagement. 1 minute still remains for J-Lad to be able to get this diffuser down, and well, there goes a bulletproof camera, and next to the bomb chassis, he pulls out his LMG, plenty of time to reload, and the very last Candela will buy him some time. Handy blinded but for a second. Diffuser at the halfway point. Handy rushing up to this position, but J-Lad does not quit. He does not fake. Still playing by the bomb chassis. Handy peeking away, but J-Lad wins the engagement. That could have very easily been around for FaZe Clan, but Handy, frankly, missing his shots costs him the 1v1. Nothing else about it. No other factors in play, by the way. Just that was the whole round right there. Falcons finally get on the board.
For the first time all tournament, Handy will fail in a clutch situation, not getting the 1v1 in the exact same position that he won it previously. Falcons, you could see the game plan after the tack timeout. They come in with the blitz. They come in with the ying. Is it cheesy? Perhaps, but it's the way to play Rainbow Six in 2024, and Falcons finally now realizing that, utilizing the tools that are available to them. They've managed to get a lot of good space out from FaZe Clan around the bomb site, jumping into the skylight. Caught us off guard even a little bit with how quickly they jumped into that, but FaZe Clan not quite ready for it. Losing a couple of bodies. Handy played as best as he could, but with the SMG-11 just could not land the shot. Ironically enough, up against J-Lad, who hit that final great shot to be able to win the 1v1. J-Lad himself probably the best SMG-11 player to come out of the Middle East. Extremely proficient with that SAS combo of the shotgun plus SMG-11. But of course on the attack can use other tools as well to get the job done. Now it's a round on the board. The streak has been broken. 7 attacks in a row that Falcons failed to win. The 8th time was the charm. Can they move that into more? Can they go up to 3-3? Can they equalize this half? Again, I said it right at the start of the game. A 3-3 would be great from Falcons, given how this map leads and given how FaZe Clan leave. Long road still to get there. I was curious if there'd be a mute jammer on that castle barricade again. I think actually this time they've managed to open it. So, well done. The jammer no longer there.
It's pretty big struggles. I think that was on round number 1.
It happened twice this game, yeah.
Yeah, but round number 1 was the most obvious where it was just like, okay, well, you can just keep trying, but it's just not, I guess it's just not going to work, so.
Yeah, third time's the charm on that.
Yeah. They saw the drone, so the jig is up. That particular part of the map, by the way, New Balk, or, well, Heaven, I suppose, as it's called, is the one that is often focused on by these attackers. Oh my, Cyber able to possibly get to them, but he's a little bit behind. Taking out the Hibana, and now the shield will likely pivot as it engages in a 1v1. Guards taking out Souls, looking for more Cyber with one, Vidiking another, Robbie on the board too. All of these rounds have been so quick for Falcons, but they haven't been as successful as they want. If this is their attacking strategy on Kafe, I do need to wonder what their defenses are going to look like. Hashom having an uncharacteristically bad start. He's only on 1 and 4. A single kill for Hashom through 4 rounds, 5 rounds almost at this point.
Wants to make it 2.
Actually just missed an opportunity for an easy pick, but I think he's going to get Robbie to get it instead. Plenty of time, though, because of the speed of Falcons, by the way. If things go awry, they've still got time to sort things out.
Yeah, looking for this one. Robbie knows with the Nitro Self there's one right below him, but Handy also playing very, very safe. Cyber set them up into a good position, but they've got a lot of time to try to dig themselves out of this hole. Wow, he knows exactly where he's at, but he can't quite get the kill. Handy takes a bit of damage, but still avoids it. The hatch, I don't believe they can open it unless there's still a shot in that Gone 6, but I assume there's not. They will start to repel into the top floor now, but watch out for this flank.
That's super shorty there for backup. Could be used in a pinch, and while you're in a pinch right now, if you're Falcons, because of the numbers, FaZe Clan can send somebody upstairs. FaZe fell to the tricks of a flank. Are we going to see that happen again? Robbie eliminated by Cyber. That's 3 kills for Cyber, and now it's Hashom upstairs to retrieve the case. The smoke has gone out as well, and he has no choice but to drop this hatch. He'll be very exposed, or maybe just sit and wait, and that's exactly what he's going to do. So, you don't need to give yourself away. You can sit, wait, maybe talk to your teammates, maybe get yourself a shorter timeout, knowing that the round at that point was done. Falcons will concede the round, and it's a 4-1 start on this map for FaZe Clan. Now, mind you, they are on the better side, so a 4-2 half for FaZe is very normal.
Yep.
If they can muster a 4-2, Falcons can pick up a second round here and now, that's good. Falcons, despite only having those 2 rounds, will be in a great shape to tie things up at the tail end of the second half. But I don't know what the confidence level and the fatigue level is on the side of Falcons, because FaZe Clan really don't look like they're doing much. Frankly, it looks like they're having a very, very easy matchup so far. From Clubhouse, now all the way here to Kafe. This might slowly be getting to Falcons, and there might be reverberations on the second half.
I would argue one thing that FaZe Clan are doing extremely well is reading Falcons. We see some amazing movements coming out of Cyber in particular in that last round and the round before it, even though they lost. Cyber has been excellent. There was once upon a time where Cyber was considered to be the best player in the world, a major MVP all the way back in, I believe it was Yavla, where he was able to win with this FaZe Clan team. They've made a few roster changes since then, but he was still on the team back then, hunting for an 11th for a spawn peak. Not the greatest of sights or greatest of angles, but he's still looking for it, and he might find it. There's the head. Nah, backs off now. Oh, but it's just a bait! Vidiking, the partner in crime, jumps out the red window and is able to clean up Hashom anyways. Beautifully executed. That's the thing about Cyber. He can get the kills himself, no doubt, but he also knows when to come back and let his teammates frag too. They get good damage onto Dove as Souls hits a good shot from inside a bakery. This has been disastrous from Falcons. At least the util play is good. Already, Goyo Cancer's being popped.
Really terrible time for Hashom to have one of his worst games at a Tier 1 event. Robbie's numbers also underwater. Not a single player on the side of Falcons positive, and I suppose that happens when you've only won a single round, but usually even in defeat, you're still at least able to play. Cyber's just smurfing on them. 11 kills through 5 completed rounds, 6 active rounds. almost guaranteeing him 2 kills around. He had a 3K in the previous endeavor, and now it's KDS playing around this deployable shield inside of VIP. Falcons bogged down over in delivery at the bottom of White Stairs. Robbie, the only player on Falcons that is at full HP. J-Lad and Dovahkiin taking so much damage with half of the round to go. That means the goo mines that are around this map, the volcanic canisters that are around this map, potentially the Surya gates that are around this map, all can easily kill 2 of these players of Falcons without a single bullet being fired in their direction.
And they have the time here on Falcons to try to work a pick, to try to get a game plan going, but just do they have the mental at this point with everything going wrong to pull themselves together and clutch the 3v5? And when FaZe are hitting shots like this, like, it doesn't even matter if you have a good game plan.
That's been a prolonged fight, though. That's been going on for about 20 seconds at this point. Skeleton Key pulled out, a flawless end to this first half by FaZe Clan. KDS from this position gets 3 kills, and off we go to the second half with FaZe in a 5-1 position. Falcons, oh boy, they got a lot of hill to climb.
It's a big mountain standing in front of them right now, and at the top of it's got to be Cyber. The way he's been playing today, starting off with 2 big kills in that last round. He's been playing Rainbow Six Siege since the beta, all the way back in 2015. Coming from South Brazil. I'm not going to try to pronounce that city name, sorry.
What is it? Let me see it.
Guaratuba?
Guaratuba. I'm assuming is how you'd pronounce it.
In the state of Parana, I believe.
Are you Brazilian? Do you speak Portuguese? Guaratuba. How well am I saying that? Please let me know on Twitter.com. I'm at Intero.
I think we did pretty good.
Jesse is on Twitter at cornpop16.
Jesse J. Chick, thank you very much.
CORNPOP16.
He's the longest member on FaZe Clan, been on this team longer than anybody else.
Long lineage of 15 previous corn pops. He's the 16th.
And we have a good reason for Cyber to be on this team for so long. FaZe, they don't want to get rid of him when he puts up such consistent performances.
Why are you not proud of your family history, huh? You go quiet instead of talking about the 15 pops that came before you.
I think the viewers want to hear about Cyber and not me. Cyber's a more interesting person than I am.
Is that true? I mean, this so far this is a stomp.
Yes,
I'm hearing
I'm
hearing by the way that SQG2 on the other stream is still a stomp, by the way.
For the same team?
Well, that would be a spoiler, wouldn't it?
I want to be spoiled.
You want to go out tonight? I can buy you dinner. Spoil you like the great caster.
I need a new casting duo, I swear.
Well, you got your favorite caster of Lynx. Why don't you ask them to cast you, huh?
Yeah.
Punk.
Lynx will be back tomorrow on the cast.
Lynx and Stokes are both off today, so we've got 3 duos rolling with it. We have the last day off. As far as I'm aware, there is a duo off each day.
No.
Okay.
Nobody was off yesterday.
Right, but I mean tomorrow.
And then on Friday, I believe, or on our day off, also Stokes and Lynx are off.
So there's duos off multiple days. Great.
Yeah.
Talk about Cyber some more.
Well, Cyber might not be the one to talk about. If Guards is about to get aggressive in this situation, Cyber is still hunting for somebody on those white stairs. Full white thanks to his teammate. Dove dodging those flashbangs as well. They've avoided the fate of being picked early by FaZe Clan, but that only lasts so long. Hashom gets aggressive to take down Souls, and they're not done. Another jump out from Guards, and J-Lad finds KDS. Can Guards find 2? No, he can't. It will be Cyber who answers first for FaZe, but it seems too little and too late.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great start for Falcons, but hold on a second here. Handy's got something working. Inside a piano, missing out on the opportunity to destroy Robbie now through the soft wall. J-Lad will get the kill, and a drop in from Cyber will last roughly 2 seconds. J-Lad with another kill to end the round, and Falcons, well, they get dealt by FaZe Clan the same hand that Falcons continued to deal to FaZe, which was a quick and prompt rush that does not really go anywhere. I wonder if that's just the way that both of these teams want to approach Kafe today, because it seems a little odd that FaZe Clan would try the exact same maneuver that failed so spectacularly multiple times for Falcons.
Well, I will say on the side of Falcons, it's good to see them getting aggressive early because it means that they're getting their heads back into this game. You know, what I don't want to see when you go down 5-1 in the first half is teams just huddle up in their bomb sites, playing afraid, not being confident in a lot of these rounds. If you're going to go out to FaZe Clan, go out swinging, right? Jump out the window, make sure you're going out on your own terms. Obviously, they're not out of the tournament by any means. Keep in mind, this is the winner's game. If you lose this, you got plenty of matches still. You can lose many more after this and still maintain a spot in the top 8. But for Falcons, this game has been very difficult for them. If they start getting aggressive, that could get their head back in the right spot. I don't want to see them jumping out windows for the next 6 rounds. Eventually, you'd imagine FaZe Clan will read into that. They'll start to expect it, and they will punish it. But for the very first round of defense, run it. Let's go. Let's try to get some momentum back in your favor. If they can do it again here in round number 8 and push it to 5-3, that's all of a sudden momentum.
Just an update for everybody, by the way. Over on the A stream, Sonics and G2 are in map number 2. It is the same map as us. Cyber got the leadoff pick, by the way, in the first 15 seconds.
Of course.
Goodbye, guards. Right now, spoilers, the scoreline is 6-1 for Sonics. This is G2's map. This would be a 14-1 victory for Sonics if they pull it off on this particular round. That'd be quite stunning. G2 would be the first team to go home here in Phase 2. Good position for FaZe and a great start for them to go up 6-2 at this point, gaining a lot of value from these drones as they see 2 players from Falcons, one of which is immobile. He could be a sitting duck. Track stingers to cover their track. And I assume the first bit will go over towards Piano. Soft destruction and hard destruction to open that up. Hard destruction solely in the hands of the Hibana.
Hasham's not left. These track singers don't seem to be doing much to deter him. And J-Lad, there's more aggression. I was saying it. They wanted to play aggro. It did initially get punished as Cyber found guards, but they do answer back. This makes it back to a 4-on-4. And if they do manage to push up to these red stairs too, Hasham is not being subtle about his position. They know he's there. He knows they know he's there.
They know he knows that they know he knows that he's there.
Everyone is full information, and Dove is full frag, and his souls goes down, but he is traded.
By KDS, who drops in. Cyber also on the board for yet another time this round. A 2v2. Cyber on 14 kills. Hasham taking some damage as he trudges through the track stingers to get back up top, right next to the humidor inside of Cigar. 417 of KDS rattling away. That does so much damage, and Cyber is prepared and ready for the explosion in front of him. J-Lad finished off by KDS. A great 1-2 punch, as that's 3 kills in the round for Cyber. As he continues his hot play, FaZe Clan sit on series point.
Obviously, these are professional players. They are playing with admins behind them.
Yes.
But if you were confused, if you didn't know that, you would be forgiven for thinking, hey, does this Cyber guy have wall hacks? Does he know exactly what's going on? Because his positioning is always perfect. No, Parker, I don't
Jesse,
think.
do you think that there's a professional player who has been around since basically the dawn of time? Do you think he's just openly, brazenly cheating?
Parker, I think there's a low chance of that. I think more likely he's just a great player with great game sense.
Jesse, I think this is going to get crazy, what I'm about to say here, but yeah. I don't think he's cheating.
But I think the viewers would be forgiven. For thinking that, if they did not know the history of who Cyber Zero was.
You're much nicer to the viewers.
I think I would forgive that because he's playing as if he has those wall hacks. He knows exactly what Falcons are doing from the start of the round up until the very end, always positioning himself in the position to catch a player off guard. He gets away with so much because of that great game sense.
And I was going to say, for players of Cyber's skill level, the amount of knowledge and experience he has that leads to a higher game sense, that to a lot of people makes it seem like you're cheating. And in a way, it does kind of feel like cheating. If you know what your opponents are going to be doing at all times, you have such a massive advantage. You don't need third-party programs, obviously. It's against the rules. No real players cheating, so if you're listening, we're just obviously joking. Except for Jesse, he cheats in casual games. Anyway.
I do not.
But when you've got a player like Cyber, he's obviously got a great level of game sense, but he's mechanically gifted. There are certain games where he just seems like he is not tuned into the match, and whether it's he's distracted or not having a particularly good game, I'm not entirely sure. But he is wired in right now, and FaZe Clan around him are also showing up big. Vidaking was the man of the hour in map number 1. been largely invisible here, just doing his job, playing a farther back role. He's not as important as he was on Clubhouse. Why is that? Because with FaZe Clan, you've got 5 players, all of which play a specific style, but all of which are flexible enough to do different things. Cyber can play hard breach if you really so need. That's part of what makes FaZe Clan one of the best teams in the world. And with the way that they are dismantling this Falcons team, after how well Falcons have played up to this point, FaZe Clan might just be in a tier, in a league of their own. They're 5 kills away, possibly 4 kills away from being the first team to qualify for the main stage. J-Lad's been downed. There goes an explosion underneath. Cyber is worried about a possible push. Down goes J-Lad at the hands of KDS, but it was really Cyber who got it. What a start for FaZe Clan. And just a little bit over a minute to go. Troubling signs for Falcons.
Yeah, I mean, they're constantly trying to make something happen on the side of Falcons. They know that if they just let this push come in 5v5, it's going to be a rough time, but what other options do they have at this point? It's going to be an OSA drop, likely through Freezer will be the game plan from Vidaking as they start to rip up these floorboards. KDS and Cyber bringing double soft breach, triple, if you include the secondary shotgun from Souls, which is currently doing a lot of work on those floorboards as well. Guards, the player we're watching now, probably the most important position, holding inside of VIP. He's the one that could stop that Freezer drop if that's where they go with the push. That said, though, are we moving over towards Bakery? There is a bit of a rotation happening as the drones come out. Could it all be a bait? And in the actuality, the push will come through Bakery.
So maybe it was a bait after all. Maybe the real push, Jesse, was the friends that we made along the way. Hashom on the board this round against Handy. Souls taking out Dovahkiin, and Hashom still firing back from inside of Small Bake. KDS doesn't seem to know how close Hashom is, and that lack of information will hurt FaZe Clan as KDS now falls. The Goyo of Hashom swinging up. Vidaking gets him, and also onto Robbie. Guards is the last one up. Very limited time. Vidaking will have to stick this plan, who's now been dropped. Cyber the only one upright. He won't have time to get the diffuser or the man, and Falcons will win on time in a mad scramble. FaZe Clan coming so close to putting this match away. They have multiple opportunities to do it. They're going to need them because they still sit on series point, but Falcons have now won 2 as defenders. FaZe Clan only need 1 more.
Big moves from Hasham, the hero that Falcons need as they are on match and series point against FaZe Clan. He's got to do that 3 more times in order to force that overtime and then eventually bring us to Nighthaven if they can win it in OT as well. It's a big mountain, but Hasham is exactly the guy who you want to be climbing it. Brilliantly played inside of Small Bake. Never was making a misstep. Always had his gun up to stop that aggression coming in through the bakery door. They played around that OSA shield so perfectly. Throwing those impacts at it. Couldn't destroy the shield while it was being held, but still disrupted that just enough to then go for the swings and get those picks right afterwards. Inside a Small Bake, a little bit farther back, Hasham was the guy that cleaned up the majority of those kills, played really well around red stairs, and then was able to just buy enough time for his teammates to then win the 1v1 on the clock. You got to imagine Cybers, who's putting up a 4.0 KD ratio right now. Had he found the gunfight, likely would have won it, but for Falcons, when you're playing on the site that is typically the slowest in the entire game, you can stall out really nicely, and that's exactly what they did.
Well, as we get underway with a very critical round for both of these teams, we do have the results from over on our A stream. Spoilers inbound for those of you that are looking to watch it at a later time. Pause for the next 10 seconds or so. The first team to go home through phase number 2 will be G2. A 14-2 scoreline over 2 maps. Sonics live to see another day. They will be in action tomorrow in yet another elimination game. But unfortunately, after a heroic run that sometimes looked a little bit grim, through the play-ins, G2 is going home.
Rough year for G2. That's likely them missing out on SI as well unless they win the qualifiers.
Both of those points are correct. The LCQ is the only way for G2 to make it to SI at this point. So not only will there be no Montreal miracle for them, but Boston might be out of reach as well.
FaZe Clan have already secured Boston, though. This game's still important just to make it to the main stage of Montreal. They'd love to be major champions once again. Win another one of these here in the oh-so-important city of Montreal, but it's going to be tough with Cyber already taken out by Robbie. If he heats up, this could be the comeback
You've slain the final boss already with half the round still left to go for Falcons, so you can breathe a sigh of relief. Though, again, goes back to a point that was used just 2 rounds ago. FaZe Clan, an embarrassment of riches when it comes to potential, and all of these players can step up when needed. Troubling sign, though, is that FaZe Clan are on the absolutely worst side of Kafe. And Ashom will guard the window. Vidaking looking for a swing in. Souls will give his position away. There's the swing in from Handy, but he can't make much noise. Oh my goodness, that round was over as soon as it began. Falcons flawlessly ending that one. I wouldn't be surprised if FaZe used their timeout now.
Yeah, they're trying to use good utility to get in, right? We're seeing the flashbangs. We're seeing everybody push together on the side of FaZe Clan. That's the right stuff to do. They got to just calm it down a little bit, and I think this will be attack. Yes, there it is from FaZe Clan being called now. I really do think that they just need to get out of their own heads for a moment. These pushes, I think the idea behind them is always smart, but right now we're starting to see Robbie step up. We're starting to see Hasham step up. These have been the players that have carried Falcons throughout the stage so far. I will remind you, the Falcons have not lost an official Tier 1 game of Rainbow Six Siege since Stage 1. Flawless in their regional league, flawless in Phase 1 of the Major, flawless through Phase 2 of the Major so far. They've lost maps in BO3. That was both before this game and now here just an hour or so ago. But this would be their first loss of a series overall since 6 months ago, since all the way back in the spring. FaZe Clan not quite as undefeated, but still a very good win-loss record for them. They've been in tougher situations than this. Obviously, this is a spot where they just need to win one of the next 2 rounds, and they will be able to avoid overtime. A team who have often been in high-pressure spots, looking to close it out here against the Falcons. But could you imagine if they make the comeback now and force that 3rd map? I don't want to jinx it just yet. I'll knock on wood, but Falcons, they're starting to get there.
I mean, this is the side doing what the side needs to be done. You expect a 4-2 half. Obviously, FaZe Clan ran ahead of that number by getting up 5-1, and it bought them 1 extra round of an insurance policy, of a cushion, because Falcons will now need to do the same thing. Identical 5-1 halves are incredibly rare at this level of Siege. They happen, obviously, but very few maps and very few teams are so evenly matched on either side that we expect it to happen. I imagine Falcons will win 4 rounds. That means that it could come down to the 12th round for FaZe Clan to finally win it. We'll see how well they can translate this time out, because FaZe Clan might be a new team after settling themselves down.
5-1 comeback's a bit of a sore spot for FaZe Clan, too. Nighthaven's map 3 as well.
Oh, my goodness. Do you feel it coming on?
A couple of flashbacks, perhaps.
This is a team, by the way, on FaZe Clan's side of things that is known for being mentally resilient. So watching them lose their grip on that SI Grand Final on home soil in Sao Paulo back in February was astonishing, and it really just goes to underscore how impressive that was for the team now known as Furia, at the time playing under W7M, to claw back round by round by round to win the World Championship against FaZe. Obviously, very different stakes here. Even if they lose, it's not the end of the world for FaZe Clan, because number 1, there's another map. Number 2, even if they lose this best of 3, they still have a very good shot of making main stage. They just have to do it tomorrow. Falcons, at the moment, still underdogs. I would still be betting against them if it were up to me. FaZe Clan seem like the team that will be able to pull it out in a 2-0, but that's just idle speculation. It really depends on how this first engagement goes. Dovahkiin tried to do the exact same thing as last time. Cyber and KDS with 2 very quick picks. They have commandeered most of this top floor, but not all of it. As you can see, one more was playing from above. That was Robbie. So now it's up to J-Lad and Guards, both of whom are on that middle floor, and through the kill hole, Guards slaughters KDS and what remained of him. FaZe Clan in a 3v2, just a little below half of the round still to play. And with FaZe taking that top floor map control, they can keep somebody up there, while Cyber and one other player go towards the bomb site on that middle floor.
You can see that everybody's nervous. They're holding angles. Nobody wants to make an early step. Lots of time in this round. They don't need to abuse it. Falcons not going for any over-eager flanks, although J-Lad thinking about it now. And FaZe are being very careful to hold it. If J-Lad pushes up red stairs, it's very likely FaZe will see it. I believe there's track stingers on this staircase as well.
There's the shotgun blast from right now inside of the reading room. A push up towards white stairs, expecting somebody from FaZe to come down that part of the map. That's where Cyber was positioned, but instead they will pivot. They realize that most of these players are far enough away that they can go through the reading door. Guard shrugging off a lot of damage. He's been dropped. It's all up to J-Lad, who gets Cyber, but has to deal with Souls and Vidiking. Cyber might also be retrievable. J-Lad drops down to Pillar. Diffuser been picked back up by Vidiking. J-Lad giving his position away, pre-firing, as the 3 players remaining from FaZe know where he is, and Souls will say no more.